In this short series of videos, I'm going to show you how to translate a given parent function. In this case, we're going to look at f of x equaling the absolute value of x, or f of x is the absolute value of x, and we're going to translate that 8 units down. Okay. In this little video, I'm going to show you how to create a table that has inputs of -5 to 5, and then also how we create points for absolute value with the inputs of -5 to 5. Okay, so to do that, we're going to use GeoGebra. Make sure that we can see our axes in our grid lines. And then also we want to view our spreadsheet. That's where we're going to make our table. So go to View and go to Spreadsheet. And on the right side, we have a little spreadsheet pop up. So we're going to make a vertical table where this A column, this first column, is going to be our input values. So this is where the -5 to 5 is going to go. And then the B column is going to be our output column. So again, we're talking absolute value. So these will be the absolute values of our input numbers. So this first cell, A1, I'm just going to, since we're going from -5 to 5, I'm just going to type -5 and hit enter. Okay, now this second cell, I'm going to do a formula so that I can quickly extend our little number pattern to fill out our inputs really easy. So for this A2 cell, I'm just going to type equals, and this tells the spreadsheet we're going to do a little formula. So this cell is going to equal whatever's in the previous cell A1, so -5 in this case, but I'm just going to click on A1, so it's going to take whatever's in A1 and I'm going to add 1 to it, so say +1, and hit enter. And when you add 1 to -5, we get to -4, right? The cool thing about a formula is, what if our inputs, we wanted to, instead of starting at -5, we want to start at -10. So if I hit enter, that's okay. The next one is going to go ahead and jump to -9 because it's taking whatever's in cell A1 and just adding 1 to it. Okay, but let's stick with -5 for now. So now that I have this formula in my A2 cell, I'm going to extend that. So this little blue square down in the bottom right corner, I'm going to click on that and I'm going to drag that formula down to the 11th cell so I can get -5 to 5. So when you do that, it's just adding 1 to the next cell. So if I were to continue, this would be 6, and then 7, then 8, and so forth. Okay, so we got our inputs from -5 to 5. Let's go ahead and evaluate our absolute value and put the output values in the B column. So instead of doing that ourselves, let's just have GeoGebra do it. So just make sure that you understand mathematically, we use the symbols with the vertical bars of absolute value to denote absolute value. But when it comes to GeoGebra and other computer programs, it doesn't know what the vertical bars are. So an alternative way is to write ABS. That stands for absolute value. And then we use round parentheses, and we're going to take the absolute value of whatever's in the parentheses. So this is computer talk for our math symbol of absolute value. Okay? So now in our spreadsheet here, what I'm going to do is do another formula. So this B1 is going to be the absolute value of whatever is in my A1, or my input of -5. So I'm going to say that this cell is going to equal the absolute value, so ABS. I'm going to use my parentheses, and I'm going to click, make sure my cursor's in the parentheses, and I'm just going to tap the cell A1. So it's going to take the absolute value of A1, so of -5, and when we hit enter, we get that positive value of 5. And then I can just go ahead and click that cell and drag my formula all the way through. So that just took the absolute value of the input cell and gave us out that positive value. Okay? So there is our creating a table with our inputs and outputs for absolute value. Now let's go ahead and create the points, all right, for the absolute value of x. So to do that, all I'm going to do is click on this upper left cell, A1, and I'm going to just drag until all my data is highlighted. Then I'm going to go to my tools up in the upper left corner here and take this third toolbox. We don't want to create a list, but we want to create list of points. Okay, so grab your create list of points tool, In your preview window, it's important just to look at, make sure your input outputs are correct here. So if we put in a -5, absolute value of -5 is 5. Put in a -4, absolute value is 4. And -3, absolute value is 3. So this is good. So we're just going to hit create. And notice it creates our absolute value curve. And since absolute values never give us a negative output, none of these points should be below the x-axis in the negative output area, right? Everything's positive, and that's why it has this nice V shape in the positive direction. Okay, so that is how we create a table with inputs from -5 to 5, and we put in the evaluated values, the outputs, dependent on our function. So for this example, we're doing absolute value. If we were doing a cubing function, you would just cube these values, right, and so forth. Okay? So I hope that helps out.